The pain feels real, yet an ancient sage, without a trace of doubt, taught us that we are not the one feeling any of it. This might sound strange because your mind constantly thinks that it is the one that experiences everything. In today's episode, Shankaracharya will help you understand the psychology of your suffering and with his spiritual wisdom help you get out of it. So close your eyes for a moment and feel whatever sensations arise in your body, whatever emotions move through your heart, whatever thoughts pass across your mind, and ask yourself, is it truly me that is experiencing? Who exactly witnesses these thoughts and emotions arising and passing away? People carry their burdens like heavy stones, convinced these weights define their existence. They say, I am suffering, I am anxious, I am angry, I am broken. Each statement reveals a fundamental confusion, a case of mistaken identity so complete that you have forgotten your true nature entirely. What if you have never suffered, never felt anxiety, never experienced anger or brokenness? What if the one you believe yourself to be is like a character in a dream while your actual nature remains untouched by every experience you have ever had? Before you mark this episode as BS, remain patient and listen to the whole podcast with presence. And if this teaching makes you think for a while, consider subscribing to this channel for more podcasts. Consider this carefully. You are aware of having a physical body. You can feel it now, breathing and existing. When this body feels pain, you say, I am in pain. When it grows tired, you say, I am tired. When it ages, you fear your own dissolution, yet the body is constantly changing. The cells that composed your form 10 years ago have been completely replaced. Which version of the body is the real you? Beyond this body of flesh and bone, you possess what I call the subtle body. This includes your mind with its endless thoughts, your emotions with their rising and falling tides, your memory holding images of a past that no longer exists, and your imagination creating futures that may never come. You identify completely with the contents of this mental apparatus, believing that these passing states constitute your identity. Deeper still lies what I call the causal body, the fundamental ignorance that creates the illusion of being a separate individual in the first place. This is the veil that prevents you from recognizing what you truly are. It is the root of all misidentification, the source of the dream in which you believe yourself to be small, limited, and separate from the infinite reality that is your actual nature. These three bodies are like clothes you wear or vehicles you inhabit. They are not who you are. Would you claim to be your jacket simply because you are wearing it? Would you insist that you are your car because you are riding in it? Yet you make this error precisely when you identify yourself with the body, mind, and intellect that are merely instruments through which awareness operates. Now comes the recognition that changes everything. There is something in you that observes all three bodies without being any of them. When the physical body feels pain, something knows that pain is being felt. When the mind experiences sadness, something is aware that sadness is present. When ignorance creates the illusion of separation, something witnesses even that ignorance. This witness is like a lamp that reveals both itself and everything around it. It requires no other light to be known because it is itself the source of all illumination. Just as you do not need a lamp to see a lamp when it is burning brightly, you do not need anything beyond awareness itself to know that awareness exists. It is self-luminous, self-evident, and undeniable even by the one attempting to deny it. The witness is your true self. It is pure consciousness, unlimited, eternal, and unchanging. It is not affected by anything that appears within it, just as the mirror is not stained by the images reflected in its surface. When your body is young, the witness is there. When your body grows old, the witness remains unchanged. When your mind is happy, the witness observes happiness. When your mind is miserable, the witness observes misery, but the witness itself is never happy or miserable, never young or old, never born and never dying. This witness is what the ancient texts call the self. It is what I am. It is what you are. It is what all beings are, though most never recognize it because they are so completely identified with the temporary vehicles through which consciousness operates. Watch what happens each day as you pass through three distinct states of experience. In waking, you identify with your physical body and interact with an external world of objects and others. You feel completely certain that this waking experience is real, that you are truly the person walking around, thinking thoughts, doing things in the world. Then sleep comes, and with it, dreams. In the dream state, you identify with a subtle dream body moving through a dream world. While dreaming, that dream experience feels completely real. You never doubt that you are the person in the dream, experiencing joy or terror according to what the dream presents. The dream body may be young when your physical body is old, may be capable of flying when your physical body cannot leave the ground. Yet while dreaming, you believe completely in the reality of what you are experiencing. Finally comes deep sleep, where all experience temporarily ceases. No waking world, no dream world, no sense of being a person at all. Yet when you wake, you can say, I slept well or I slept poorly. Something must have been present during that deep sleep to later report on it. That something is the witness, the unchanging awareness that continues existing through all three states. The person you believe yourself to be in waking life is like the character you play in a dream. While you are identified with that character, their problems feel completely real, their suffering absolutely genuine. The moment you wake from the dream, you realize that none of it was actually happening to you. The dream character never existed except as a temporary appearance in awareness. This waking life is similar. The person you take yourself to be is a character appearing in consciousness, like the dream character. All their suffering belongs to that imagined individual, not to the awareness in which that individual appears. You are the awareness, not the character. You are the screen on which the movie plays, not any actor in the movie. Right now, you may be thinking, this is just philosophy. My suffering is real. I feel it directly. How can you tell me I am not suffering? I am not denying that suffering is occurring. I am revealing who is actually suffering and who you truly are. When your hand touches fire, nerve signals travel to your brain, pain is registered, and suffering is experienced. All of this is happening within the domain of the body and mind. The witness is aware that pain is being experienced, but the witness itself does not hurt. It cannot hurt because it has no parts that can be damaged, no qualities that can change, and no states that can alternate between pleasure and pain. The confusion arises because you are so completely identified with the body and mind that you mistake their experiences for your own experiences. It is like watching a movie and becoming so absorbed in the story that you forget you are sitting safely in a theater. When the character on screen suffers, you may feel sadness, but you are not actually being harmed by what is happening to the character. Once you remember that you are the watcher, not the character being watched, the nature of the experience shifts entirely. Everything you call your suffering belongs to the false identification, to the illusion that you are a separate individual with a personal story. The body ages and dies. That is the body's story, not yours. The mind experienced depression. That is the mind's state, not your state. The world presents challenges and losses. These occur in the world, not to the unchanging awareness that witnesses the world. The teaching here is radical and often misunderstood. I am not saying you should become cold or indifferent to suffering. I am saying you should recognize what you actually are. When you know yourself as the witness, as pure consciousness, compassion becomes possible in a way it never was before. You can respond skillfully to suffering without being identified with it. without believing that you are the one who is broken. Imagine a perfectly clean mirror. Place an image of a beautiful flower in front of it, and beauty appears in the reflection. Place an image of something ugly in front of it, and ugliness appears. Yet the mirror itself is never made beautiful or ugly by what it reflects. Remove all images and the mirror remains exactly as it was, perfectly clean, clear, unchanged by everything that has appeared and disappeared in its surface. Your true self is like that mirror. The body, mind, emotions, thoughts, and experiences all appear in the mirror of consciousness. Joy appears, suffering appears, pleasure and pain, birth and death, gain and loss, all appear as reflections. Yet consciousness itself remains absolutely untouched, unchanged, unstained by any of these appearances. The confusion comes when you believe you are the reflection rather than the mirror. You identify with the image of the suffering person appearing in awareness and forget that you are the awareness itself. Once this false identification is seen through, liberation happens instantly. You realize you have never been bound, never been limited, never been the person who suffered. That person was always just an appearance, a temporary image in the eternal mirror of consciousness. You may be wondering, if I am already this unlimited awareness, why don't I experience myself this way? The answer is that you are experiencing yourself this way, but you have simply failed to recognize it. Right now, in this very moment, you are aware. That awareness is what you are, everything else is what you are aware of. The recognition happens through what I call discrimination. You must learn to distinguish between the witness and the witnessed, between awareness and the contents of awareness. This is like learning to separate butter from milk through churning. The butter was always present in the milk, yet it existed in an undifferentiated state. Through the churning process, the butter reveals itself as distinct from the liquid. Similarly, through careful inquiry and discrimination, you learn to recognize the permanent awareness that underlies all changing experiences. Ask yourself continually, who is aware of this thought? Who knows this emotion? Who witnesses this experience? Each time you ask, you withdraw attention from the object being experienced and direct it toward the subject experiencing. Eventually, the habit of identification weakens and the truth of your nature becomes self-evident. This is why I teach. I am not the body, for I am aware of the body. I am not the mind, for I am aware of the mind. I am not the breath, for I am aware of the breath. I am not even this sense of being a separate individual, for I am aware of that sense. What I am is the pure awareness in which all of these appearances arise, exist for a time and dissolve back into the source from which they emerged. When this recognition stabilizes, you discover something remarkable. The same awareness that witnesses your experiences is the awareness that witnesses everyone's experiences. The consciousness looking through your eyes is identical to the consciousness looking through all eyes. The space of awareness in which your thoughts appear is the same space in which all thoughts appear. There is only one consciousness appearing as many, like the sun reflecting in 1,000 lakes appearing as 1,000 suns. Once you know yourself as the witness, as pure consciousness, life continues exactly as before on the surface. The body still feels sensations, the mind still thinks thoughts, and emotions still arise and pass. The difference is that you are no longer identified with any of it. You watch it all happening with perfect clarity, responding skillfully when response is needed, remaining still when stillness is appropriate. This does not mean you become emotionless or cold. Actually, the opposite occurs. When you know yourself as consciousness itself, you recognize that all beings are expressions of the same consciousness wearing different forms. Compassion becomes natural because you see your own self in everyone and everything. You help alleviate suffering wherever you encounter it, not because you believe suffering is ultimately real, but because compassion is your nature once false identification is removed. The one who has realized their true nature moves through the world like an actor who knows they are playing a role. They perform their part skillfully, responding appropriately to each situation, yet never forgetting that the drama is not who they actually are. When the play ends, the actor removes their costume and returns to being themselves. Similarly, when the body dies, the one who knows themselves as awareness simply continues, unchanged as they have always been. This is liberation while living. You do not need to wait for death to be free. You do not need to go anywhere or become anything other than what you already are. Freedom is not a future state to be attained through years of practice. It is the recognition of what has always been true. You are not the limited person you believed yourself to be. You are infinite consciousness temporarily appearing as that person, like an ocean temporarily appearing as a wave. You are the unchanging screen on which the movie of life plays, the eternal mirror reflecting temporary images, the boundless space in which all experiences arise and dissolve. Know yourself as this, and even while suffering continues in the domain of body and mind, you remain forever free.